Hello, hello, hello. Looks like my camera's not working. Hang tight one sec while I check on that. Oh, I think we're live finally. Hooray! I was getting tired of this blue dimension, this blue void. How's everyone doing? Doing all right? Hope you're having a fantastic day because I am. Because look, look at the little count. 3,000 subscribers. I can't tell you how elated I am to be here and just experience this moment. It came way sooner than I thought, and I have you to thank for it. So, really, thanks for, especially those of you who are watching right now. Thanks for being here. You know, you're part of what makes this channel so successful. Thanks to everyone who subscribed in the past and recently who just came on board. Um, I'm working on doing something really cool, namely a marathon stream for this weekend, this Saturday. I think I might do like another 12-hour stream. Think that'll be I think that'll be pretty fun. But yeah, today's a good day, and you know, we won't do like the marathon stream right now because of course, I had work today. Today's a day just like any other day, but it's very special to me, and I totally won't forget it. By the way, I'm repping my old robotics team. 2380 2383 is my old robotics team. So, I'm glad I still have this shirt around. But yeah, we got a couple of stuff to do. Oh, also, you know, a couple people in the chat here too. Hey, Yaya, what's going on? Deval, congratulations. Thank you so much, my dude. And of course, Crow Knight responding cheekily to when I said hang tight. Well, how tight? Well, I'll let you know the specification. Let me make the light not so intense. I just gotta adjust a couple things here. But yeah, still not sure what I'm gonna model for today. I was thinking of Yaya's suggestion from last stream, doing like a gear cube. I think that could be pretty cool, or another 507 mechanical movements. It'll bring me ever closer to completing that series. Like, I want to complete it. But yeah, but first I want to take a look at the Discord because things have been popping off there. I know I say that every time, but it's true. It's true. Lots of great stuff. So let me put this over here, and we'll switch. Let's see. Okay, so my node board's working. All right, sounds good. All right, I got a Sato in response to my little link there, but yeah, I guess I'll answer this question. I know I did in the Discord, but in more detail. So Yaya asked me a great question, and I'm sure that you've all been wondering, is do I plan on continuing my Certified SolidWorks Professional Advanced series? The 12 and a half tips series, basically. And the answer is I really want to, but I've just been kind of just with the full-time job and all the other stuff I'm doing, it's kind of hard to create one of those videos because a lot of work goes into them, and part of the difficulty is all the examples I have to do for those have to be original. Like I had a SolidWorks Corp talk to me. I actually had to remove several of my content because apparently the models were so similar to the actual exams and it didn't sit right with them. I was happy to comply. I'm not trying to. I want to make proficient modelers for my channel, not cheaters. I'm not trying to show what's actually on the exam, but to give you the tools to succeed on those exams. That's kind of my policy. But a side effect is when I do a certification prep video, I have to make all examples myself, and pretty time consuming. So, I wouldn't, I wouldn't like hold your breath on it. If they come out, they come out. But I've shown this kid off many times before. Hey, that's me. SolidWorks Lucas. He's been popping off with the certification content. So if you absolutely cannot wait for your certification content, just check out this channel to just sate that hunger. I'm sure my own will come out at some point, but Lucas knows what he's talking about. I can guarantee you that. Oh, hey Sebastian, great to see you here, as well as Alessio saying, hey, great to have you both here. But yeah, I was answering a couple questions from the Discord, and actually Virus, with what I just suggested, SolidWorks Lucas with the certification prep stuff. All right, next up, very exciting. Well, actually, let me start from the top here. So you may remember last stream, I was kind of fighting my assembly a little bit, but yeah, I seemed to make it work. So hats off to him. I'm not wearing. Well, hang on. Hats off to Yaya. Sorry, dumb joke. To actually making this work. I was pretty close, but I was using like a layout sketch before, but instead he just drove it using a distance mate and then changing that value. So very well, very well. And first off, yeah, this is considered work, and the work is even considered. It doesn't even have to be CAD related. So if you're doing a woodworking project or just 3D printing something, that absolutely belongs in this channel. It doesn't have to be strictly CAD related, but I wanted to keep shouting out Yaya because he got both his advanced drawing tools and advanced surfacing exams, which he states makes him eligible for the CSWE. So I guess hang tight for when he knocks this one out of the park, and I'm sure he'll be letting us know when he does. He's very talented at modeling, and I have full faith in him. Ooh, this is new. Yeah, I didn't see this until now. Pataguchi says, I just started SolidWorks this semester, and I'm really enjoying it. Here's a picture of my last assignment. I assume this would be the CAD equivalent of writing the Hello World program in CS. But I am looking forward to modeling some more complex things in second year. You did a great job. I like how you actually put the threads in the in that screw. Very, very good. But yeah, very solidly modeled. Not no pun intended, but yeah, this is great work, especially for your first project. Keep it up, my dude. So yeah, be sure if you want to join the Discord. Let's get you guys a link if you want to join the Discord and join the little party we got going on in there. Feel free. We'd love to have you here, and of course, if you're not already, subscribe. Hit the bell so you know when I go live. Yaya chiming in, you'll be the first to know, Virtual Flat CAD fam. Oh yeah, that's what I like to hear. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe that I want to set here. We're here to hold each other up, no matter what industry we come from, no matter what CAD software we use. We are engineers, and we need to hold each other up. That's, I think, what's most important. There's a lot of there can be a lot of gatekeeping and elitism in many engineering fields, but a lot of it in mechanical, saying you're not a real engineer unless you use this CAD software. A lot of that. So a lot of negativity, but we're gonna we're gonna neutralize that with positive vibes. That's what I'm going for here. But yeah, great work, Patagucci. All right, what's up in the CAD Tech Help? So Virus saying, what is better, pro cons? I need the gear and rod to rotate at the same time. Option 1, lockmate. Option 2, coincident right planes. Let me take a look here. I see here. So he wants this spur gear to rotate, basically flexibly linked to the rod that goes through them. He asked a great question. Should I use lockmate or coincident right planes? So Yaya's saying, I guess there is no difference. Well, that's almost true, and I'll elaborate, but I'll always go for the coincident mate. That's the same choice that I would make. Although I do have another option, that is, I think, just as acceptable. Why? For the same reason I never use fixed sketch relationship. Yeah, it's true that a lot of lazy designers tend to just lean on fix, like, oh, it's just where I want it. Let's just fix it in place and just leave it like that. But, I wouldn't go as far to say to never, ever use it. It's there for a reason, but, you got the right idea. So, my opinion, coincident mate is better. Why is that? So, lockmate, what that does, just says one component is fixably linked to the other with no other semblance of, moving it together. So, as an example, if for some reason it was modeled poorly or strangely, well, never with Virus's work. I know he's very good with his modeling, but let's just say this was some random model you found on GrabCAD by Joe Schmo. Who knows? So why I wouldn't use lockmate is that if maybe, for example, the gear is not exactly on the center of that shaft, if you put lockmate, it will lock those two together. That's true. But, it will produce like a lopsided rotation. So lock doesn't have the intelligence to say, oh, this is supposed to rotate concentrically just to fix them together. But presumably there's already a lockmate. There's already a concentric mate, there, beforehand. So, just having the coincident, if it's not in place, it'll move it in place if not, and you'll get that rotation. Another thing you can do with this is if these are two separate components, you can actually click both of them and put them in a sub-assembly. You can right-click both components, and there's a line item for form sub-assembly. Let me see if I can demonstrate here. If I get just like an old... I think I did that here, so let me delete... Oh, I killed the sub-assembly, so don't mind me. So, yeah, here's actually kind of the same thing where I have this and this that need to rotate together. So, could you use the lockmate? Sure. So let's see. Well, there it is. But I want to actually make some identifying feature because I can barely tell that it's rotating. So let me just do something. And I think that's gonna goof it up. Let's see how it does. I might have to fix that sketch. Yeah, I knew it. Now we gotta fix that. We don't want... Whoops, I hit F1 by accident. My B. Yeah, we want the midpoint to be snapped because I need to overbuild it. There we go. There we go. Identifying feature. So we have this and then this that need to rotate together. So let's check out lockmate. Lock two components together. It certainly produces it, but you notice that beforehand. Whoops. There we go, until the lock is gone. If it was something like this and you didn't notice, and then you bring those two together. Wonder why I'm not getting lockmate now. Perhaps I'll just find it here. Lock. So if you do lock just like that, you get something like this. Like the lock doesn't care. It just says, put them, make them move as one. So I like using the actual like kind of analytical mates. Yeah, so it can be a little bit kludgy sometimes. Alessia chiming in, lockmate in SOLIDWORKS is bugged sometimes. Definitely go with coincident. Yeah, I totally agree with that. But a third option is to do what I did here. Although I think I should have just made it normally. But you select the two components in question, you right click, and you say form new subassembly. And what that does is, you know, makes them move together. You can open up the subassembly on its own and then put more mates here if it's not quite right. But, you know, depending on what you want, you might not want a subassembly. But I hope that clears things up, and, you know, in this specific case, you can try concentric plus lock rotation instead of lock. That's another thing you can do. So, although you have to be careful to, let me see. So I can dissolve the subassembly to put them back. But yeah, for example, I can say make concentric like that. And with this concentric, I'm wondering what it'll do here. You can actually right click and say lock rotation. Oh, so I guess that works. As long as, so what wouldn't have worked, so, you know, I model this as in the way that I usually do, where I have a circle, you know, in the multi-body part that this came from. So this is yesterday's CAD model today, by the way. So let me remove this concentric. Let's do an experiment. So if I grab, yeah, so it looks like I have that arc 2 at sketch 9, so that's correct. With this, you can say concentric. And then within that concentric, say lock rotation. So now this can spin, but this is stuck in place, because the thing you're going coincident to is basically, well look, it's got a little F in parentheses. It's a fixed part, not meant to rotate. So you can use lock rotation too. Just be careful with what you're mating with. You know, what you select matters. You know, you want, for it to work, you need to select a cylindrical surface of the part that's moving. No, I'm sure you guys would have done that anyway, because you guys are pretty slick. You know, but it's important to point this stuff out sometimes. It can be tricky. It can be very tricky. All right, so what else we got? Let's get back into here. Ooh, do I have it? Yeah, I actually got another window. But yeah, great question, Virus. He asked another question. Great. Yeah, I've answered this one in the past, but I'll do it again because this is such a relevant question, especially if you want to produce, you know, animations like I do. So what is the best codec to export video? You know, awesome question. So, you know, we'll go over it. Oops, no, I don't want to close the whole thing. I still need this around. But let me reset this. Yeah, don't don't mind this menu option, okay? It's not for you guys. You know, you who's reading this right now, it's not for you. It's just for other rude people who use my computer without me asking. But you know, we're gonna reload this. Reload. Okay, so it's back to where it is. And let's make sure the animation is still functional, and it sure is. And, okay, so let's save this out. So we have a handful of options, and this list got expanded in SOLIDWORKS 2019. So if you're using the latest version of SOLIDWORKS, 2021, or like me, 2020, or even 2019 is when the new options appeared, your best option for, by and large, MP4. From file size to, just clarity of the video, that is, it doesn't have artifacts. MP4 is just the best for that. But before 2019, MP4 wasn't available. I believe you had, I think just, I gotta check what the new options are, or what the old options were, because I know AVI was one of them. I don't think Flash Video, Matroska wasn't there, MP4 wasn't there, but I think series of images was there, so you can have bitmaps, JPEGs, and PNGs if you want. And correct me if I'm wrong. So really, you're doing some sort of AVI. So Yaya clarifying AVI, BMP, and LUX. I don't know what LUX is, but yeah. So basically, you want some form of AVI. So if you've watched my streams in the past, I just hit MP4. Luxology, and you just save it out, and that's it. It doesn't give you any more options. But if you do AVI, which is out of those three options, AVI is probably the best. But if you hit save, watch what happens. It says video compression. What do you want to use as your codec? And here, depending on what media players you have installed, and you can actually install more codecs, it will find a way to compress the images in order to make the file size smaller. I haven't really found a codec that doesn't make the video look like garbage. So let me see. If I do Microsoft Video, and let's just hit OK. Let's see what happens. We got the ding. Ding means it's done. And open up with media player. Yeah, but so here, let me what I probably should do, sorry about that, should have made that square video. Let me see, can I zoom into this? The thing is, I don't want to put it into VLC because that's what's playing the music right now. Let me try it one more time, but instead I'll make it square format. So square, AVI, we want to replace, and we're going to test with a Microsoft Video codec. Didn't give me that. Didn't give me that message before. Give me that corrupt AVI. Yeah, that's a bit better, but I gotta drag it onto the main screen. But yeah, now you can see a little bit better. There is these nasty, like, purple artifacts on it, and it just looks terrible, to be frank. So my recommendation is don't use a codec at all. Do this. AVI. Yeah, we want to replace and just go full frames uncompressed. For quality, that's what I recommend. So let's take a look at the difference here. See, none of those artifacts remain. But Virus already knew this. Oh, okay, that sounds better. Yeah, that's why I was a bit confused. But yeah, it's like I haven't looked at those old versions of SOLIDWORKS. But as you can see, better results. But as Virus was saying already, he already pointed this out. I only have AVI. My file size ends up being in the gigabytes for 5 seconds. I don't know if that is that the case, but this is already at 200 megabytes. Enormous file. So that's the downside to AVI uncompressed. Yeah, I don't think there's really a way around it. There's online converters that you can take your AVI file and then get an MP4 out of it, which would hopefully be smaller. The only other a piece of advice I can offer you, if you have an editing software like Adobe Premiere Pro, you can actually import a series of images as frames. So then you would go here, and instead of AVI, just do it a series of portable network images. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I'm pretty sure you were you said it a little bit before I did, but I just saw your message now. But yeah, that's the next thing I would recommend: series of images. And if you have Adobe Premiere, there's actually an option to like select a folder and it'll turn it into a video for you. But you need that editing software, or there's online tools that will turn it for you. So not a lot of options here, but yeah, I would say AVI uncompressed. Give it to an online converter, or download software to do it for you, and just delete the original file to save on space, or series of images, put it together. Yeah, YouTube chat lag again. No, it's not that. I don't think the lag's that bad. But yeah, that's my my little bit of recommendations for that. Hopefully that helped. You got a meme. From the SolidWorks subreddit. Let's see. Oh my god, where do I buy this? Bro, I need to buy this. That's literally amazing. I'm gonna see if I can have one of those made. That's too good. Yeah, how do I get one? Salvatore's being savage. Just try to type in the open file search dialog box. You'll get one. That is too funny, dude. Too funny. Well, yeah, I think that's most of the stuff that's appeared. So, I have the links in the YouTube chat if you want to join. You haven't already. We'd love to see you there. But for now, I think it's time to pick our next victim here. So let me try. I'm just gonna type in. Hey, Too Tall Toby's here. What's going on, my man? Great to see you. We were just, bro. Look, you gotta look at this. Have you seen this on the SolidWorks subreddit? Someone made a throw of the crash error message from SolidWorks, put it on their bed, and then with a caption, "When you need to crash after a long day." Isn't this the most amazing thing? I need this. I've seen it so clutch. Yeah, it's too good. But yeah, we're just looking for our next target for CAD model of the day number 504. This is kind of cool. Double acting pump. Cylinder closed at each end, and the piston rod passes through stuffing box on one end, and the cylinder has 4 openings covered by valves. 2 for emitting water and the like number for discharge. Interesting to call it that. A is a suction pipe and B is a discharge pipe. Interesting. So right now in the figure, it's discharging right now. squeezes out. This is open, so whatever fluid or water just comes up through here, while more appears here. Then 3 and 1 close, and then I think 4 and 2 open, so you can suck in some more, and then 3 and 1 open back up. This one's interesting. I like that. What is that, 452? I've done 453 before, so I'm not the biggest stranger to this. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys seen the later series of the 507 movements, but some of them start to get pretty absurd. Like, what is this? Balance pumps. Pair worked reciprocally by a person pressing alternatively on opposite ends of lever or beam. That is hilarious. So you just see a dude just swiveling back and forth, pumping water. Hey, I mean, whatever works. There's also one with a horse in it, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, this is kind of cool. Spiral wound round. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Spiral wound round a cylinder to convert the motion of wind or a stream into rotary motion. So even back then, you know, before we were having our energy problems, you know, Henry Brown hit us up with the renewable energies. Rocking, yeah. Too Tall Toby saying, imagine if that's your job for the town, rocking back and forth to power the town pump. I just imagine it, just like you're just sitting in your home, you turn the tap, nothing comes out. It's like, that Jerry, is he sleeping again? You gotta get back on that pump, Jerry. Or by golly. Oh my god, that is too funny to imagine. Common windmill. This is kind of cool. Screw propeller. The blades are sections of a screw thread, and the revolution in the water has the same effect of working a screw in a nut. You know, I think just this is like, I like this where this is going, because like, you know, there was a couple of people, you know, talking about the lack of surfacing, and you know, this is like would be a good challenge to do for surfacing. Definitely haven't done that before. This is cool. Ordinary steering apparatus. Well, it's ordinary back then. This is like for a pirate ship. I've done 493 before. What is this? Ferguson's mechanical paradox, designed to show a curious property of the epicyclic train. All right, this is too much for my brain after a long day of work, so we're gonna ignore that. I really like the propeller. I think 484. Maybe I'll do this on stream, because I think if you've never used like Surface Suite before, this could be a great exercise for that. Oops. Man, I've been doing this for like a year and a half, like the model of the day. It's just crazy to think that there's still so much work left to do. So that's kind of where I transported. What is this? This is kind of cool. Will work in the base of the capstan. Look at these hands. It's so weird because like we're looking orthographically at the device, but then there's these like hands. I'm really liking that propeller. Yeah, here's the one with the horse in it. So I'm not even sure how I'm even gonna do this one because it's basically a hamster wheel. It's a large hamster wheel with a horse in it, and you know, he slapped a number on it, called it a mechanism. So that's interesting. What is this? Bowery's joiner's clamp, plan and transverse section. That one's interesting. I think I'm just going to I think I'm gonna do that propeller just to break from the monotony of like. Oh, that's Avito's work. Retweeted that. Yeah, everything I've done has been super prismatic. Well, maybe not that, but I've done a lot of prismatic stuff. So I think that'd be a nice nice change of pace. Let's go look for it first. I lost it. I know once we see the screw. So 488. Yeah, let's do this one. So save. Put that in the 504. Is Pickle Rick considered prismatic? Absolutely not. It's considered funny. Funniest thing I've ever seen. Oh, I goofed up. 488. Throw this in here. Let's dismiss all of these. We don't need it anymore. Open. Oops. No, we want to start a new. Oops. We want to start a new part. My misclicks. I tell you, man. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna paste a picture because I don't really have to trace anything, honestly. I'm just gonna do it by looking at it. So let's just copy the image and just paste it as a ActiveX object. Forgot there's no paste in there. Paste. So where's our origin? So, you know, so we can do the shaft last. Do you still have all the CAD model of the day files? Yep, yeah, and actually I do abbreviate it as that a lot of the time, so don't worry, I knew what you were talking about. I still do have all the files. I don't publicly post them because, yeah, a lot of pages on Instagram like to steal my animations and pass them off as their own. Sometimes, like, very, you know, very brazenly. So, you know, having the files publicly available, I think, you know, it's just gonna foster a lot of dishonesty. Although, I will say this, if you're one of my subscribers and, you know, you want to get a hold of one of my files for basically any purpose, like you say, hey, can you send me the files of, you know, this CAD model today because I want to 3D print it? Or can you send me the files of this because I want to study it more? Yeah, absolutely. You know, just get in touch with me either through Instagram DMs or Twitter DMs, and you know, I'll send you a link to download the files. You know, but I do that just so, you know, people aren't just running off with my work and saying, "Hey, I did this," but you know, then I'm sitting here with a sad face because I did it. Is credit so much to ask? I like how I'm gonna be doing this tube's, you know, kind of weird, but whatever. And let's get a revolve. Oop, I want, yeah, this. Okay, so how do I want to do this? So definitely when you're working on something like this, you need to mentally break it down into its parts. So let me get the SketchUp tool or the markup. SketchUp is a different program. Maybe I'll use it sometime, but yeah, if you haven't tried markup, I think that appeared in SOLIDWORKS 2019 or 2020. It's a recent feature, but you know, you can draw stuff. But stuff like, you know, you see how this is kind of curvy? So I expect that to be a fillet. So when I try and sketch this shape, I want to try and mentally remove where all the fillets would be, if that makes any sense. Because the more I try and do at any one time, the harder the harder the feature becomes to create. So instead of drawing, for example, you know, this thing, you know, exactly as shown, you know, what I might try and do is draw, you know, maybe starting from the center line of, you know, that axis, maybe going up something like this, and then coming up to a sharp. Maybe I want to go for something like that instead, where, yeah, let me change my color, where this green line and this other green line are something that I can easily draw on a 2D plane, so I can control it very easily. So for challenges like this, it's all about breaking it down into its bits and pieces. You know, not trying to do too much with one feature, because you get into that, it starts becoming very difficult. And I might even make it even simpler than that, because there's a way to break this down even further. Oh, I meant to try and erase that. So I'll show you. So instead of, you know, drawing this line and trying to get it to follow a curve, do I have green still? I do. I might draw these two curves, you know, this, you know, kind of the same length, like that, and then turn that into a surface, and then draw something like this, and then trim that surface down. So it's all about just breaking it down into those little bitty pieces. So I think first thing is I'm going to draw a sketch on the top plane. It's hard to kind of imagine the contours, but I imagine this. So you can see with the shading here, so the darker shading here implies a low spot. You know, light is coming from the left hand side, and the artist drew it shading here because this thing is curving up a little bit. So there's going to be more extreme up here, but then it kind of dies down here. So it might even just be like a straight line. So let's try a straight line first. Simpler the better, right? So, you know, maybe we'll start with a midpoint line. And, you know, we'll give it 1 5/8. So that's one. You know, let's get another plane like that, and maybe make that, you know, 4 inches long. It might end up being a little bit shorter in the end, but, you know, I think that'll be okay. And maybe what I want to do here, you know, maybe let's try a funny sketch entity. No one ever uses a conic, right? So something like that. And then we can start putting this into place, saying that those should be in the same place. I want to define the row value. Maybe I want to make that a little further. Oops, I meant to type. Oh, I totally dyslexic that. That's even a word. So what should this be now? Okay, so now use conics when filleting unequal edges. Yeah, it's an awesome way to use that. Although I think I assume you're talking about the conic, unequal distance. Yeah, that's a pretty common use for them. But I assume you're talking about like the options that are in fillet. Like I don't really see a lot of examples where a conic is used as a sketch entity. And I could have just done that with a spline, but just to be cheeky and to try something new. So now at this point, I'm gonna go grab a surface. So, you can see from the propeller, from the engraving here, that it's a thin sheet of constantly thick material, and that's like the perfect opportunity to use a surface, pretty much. So when you have a surface and want to get something of constant thickness, you create the surface, using the trim tools and all the special functions, and then you thicken it at the very end. So let's see if I get a boundary surface from here to here, a nice four-sided surface. You get something like this, and I might turn real view off, but you can kind of see where I'm going with that. And then what I can do, I'll make like the tapering here. Let me hide this away. I did that just by hitting tab. Taper this away. I'll do that with, I like using a style spline. Actually, let me hide the original plane away. Something like this. So whenever you have a style spline and you start with one of the control vertices like in line with this, that means you just have it tapered down to be basically tangent with that, which is kind of what that looks here. Now I can kind of use this to fully define kind of our shape. I might even remove. Let's see what happens if I delete that. No, I kind of liked it how it was before. One, 2, 5, something like that. So we kind of have it like this. And I might even say, put a center line like that. And I can say like how wide this needs to be. Or like what's the width of this thing here. So I'll put that center line there. Maybe even make it infinite length so we can easily distinguish it, and say that this is tangent, and that should fully define it. So now I should be able to control this dimension, and this spline will move along. And it's tempting to do the other side too, but I think this sketch has enough complication as it is. And yeah, don't be afraid to use more sketches if you need to. Simpler sketches are easier to diagnose when things go wrong in them. So, and you have infinitely many sketches you can take from. There's no shortage of them. Oh, with a trim, get our standard trim, because if you have a sketch to trim with, you use standard. And there's kind of our first shape. So again, I'm just like mentally removing the fillets. So there's that markup. So at the end, I want to be left with a shape that looks like kind of like that, because I can take care of this with a fillet. I want to keep my my surfaces four-sided if I can help it. So yeah, we can get rid of that, sure. Do another front plane. I might do that, you know, how it kind of comes down from the top, like that. And how far does that come down? Maybe that much? Trim. Let's keep. And then now, just kind of do the same thing with like a style spline. I think that'll be pretty cool. Something like this. Oop. 1.25, trying to make it similar to the other one, and I'll even do the same thing where I get a center line. Let's see, that's infinite length. And give that a distance for this to stick to. So basically, where do you want this thing to rest? And, you know, maybe I'll try and make it somewhat equal with the other side, like that. So I just put a horizontal relationship between the two control polygons. And what now? Trim. And that's kind of our blade. Kind of how it looks like. Yeah, you need some work still, but you know, we're getting there. So what I might do next is thicken. Just do thicken about both sides just so we get this kind of equal. That might be too thick, honestly. Just kidding, there's no such thing as too thick. But for this exercise, I'll do something like that, right? This is overbuilt here, but that's something we can take care of pretty soon. Because, you know, now I'll do a couple of fillets. And there's probably fillets that break these edges, but remember, you want to work from the largest fillets down to the smaller fillets. And that's how you get the best chance for all the fillets you want to apply to actually complete. And what I might say is, you know, that's looking all right. Maybe it's looking sharper. So, you know, maybe I'll take a page out of Yaya's book and say, let's go for a conic row value. So the way this might be a little too big. Let's see. There we go. So with conic fillets, the way I like to think about it is you get a radius, which is kind of like this overall arc. But if you set it to 0.5, that's basically circular. And the closer you get to 0, the closer to a chamfer you get. But the closer to 1, and you know, there's a limit to that in this example, the closer to 1 you get, the closer to the sharp corner. So it's like, on a scale of chamfer to sharp corner, where do you want your fillet? So it's pretty cool. So maybe I want to actually turn that down a bit. So that is looking kind of like sharp corner. So maybe I'll like leave it at a 0.6, maybe 0.65. That's looking pretty swell. Maybe I'm able to fill it this one with a similar look, and you know, that looks pretty good. I definitely like that. Alright, so now I need to pattern this eventually. Doesn't have to be right now. You know, part of me wants to do is to throw a curve in here. You see how this is straight? Doesn't look quite right. You know, what I might do is go roll this back to where I had this. Yeah, I don't have this set up totally efficiently. Let me get flat tree view so I can reorganize this. So flat tree view, you hit Control T, and that puts all your features in like a literal order. Yeah, I'm gonna need a new plane. Not the biggest of deals, but I try to avoid having to create a bunch of extra planes if I don't need them. I can do something like that. Let's roll back, because I do need this new sketch I'm about to do created before that boundary. And let's just try an arc. Let's see what that looks like. And then with this, I can just put a value. And that's the end. So boundary surface, we need to edit. So for direction 2, let's put this. And that should put a little bit of character to our blade. Looks pretty cool. So let's see what happens now. So our trim fails. Let's see. What's wrong, my dude? That's interesting. If I clear, put this back. Okay, so I just had to reset it. I guess you're doing the same thing too. Sketch 7. Not really sure why this needs to be done, but whatever. I assume this has the same error. Well, the thing is, it's the same feature, so I would assume that the edges would be the same, albeit, you know, they're curvy now. Whatever. As long as we have a way forward. So that goes through and that goes through. That looks pretty cool. Kind of want to adjust this. Put that over here and maybe put that like there. There we go. Everything just updates, and that's kind of how it looks like. Okay, now that looks like something. Yeah, something I'm also considering as well. Man, it's just with these things, I can never just leave them alone, can I? What if instead of this, I do this? You know, give that a distance. Yeah, this is going to need a lot of adjustment. Oops. Sure, we're done with that before going on to this. That's pretty cool. So you can see when you build your sketches consistently, ideally you should be able to just do all these sort of testing stuff without blowing everything up, you know. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave this alone for the time being. Though no promises on that. You know how I am. Part of me wants to merge this. Honestly, what I should do, let me go back to this revolve and just make this 90. Okay, so now that we're working basically in quarters, because I see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 blades here, I can merge this. Yeah, well, I'm going to use a combine because I don't want to mess up the conical fillets. I'm going to use a combine, and to get rid of this extra stuff, let's grab a delete face command, and even just like pick that, and then say all surrounding, delete and patch. Like it was never even there, which is pretty cool. Let's give that a save. I did all of that without saving, like the mad lad that I am. I already forget what number. I'm gonna call it propeller. Yeah, I'm gonna try and work on fillets and see what happens. So let me see if I can hit that right click and say select loop. It's gonna have to be a lot smaller. But I guess it appears to be too small, even with round corners. Oh, but I'm still set to conic row. Okay, that didn't do anything. That does not help me, so I may have to fillet these first. And actually, I can even specify a full round fillet. And it fails. Interesting. Oops. So that goes in. Oh, I hit a face, didn't I? Okay, didn't like that. Maybe we have to apply it one at a time. That'd be kind of stinky, but we can do that. Okay, so there's one. I'm just gonna do that same thing again. Actually, let's see view, display, phantom, so we can actually see what's going on. And make sure it's set to circular. Oh, was the other one still set to conic row? I need to check on that. That might have been the... Yeah, I was set to conic row. What? I'm such a goon. I bet I can put both of these in here now. Yep. And then fillet 5 fails because it's lonely. And now, let's see what we can do about, like, oops, this edge. You know, I do want to make it kind of extra thick because, you know, this. But I might have to say, instead of keep edge, keep surface. You know, just to make it look more consistent. So in the fillet option, so keep edge says make the surface look weird, but always hug the edge in these kind of close quarter scenario. If you put keep surface, the surface looks good, but if you look at the edge that it's trying to trace, you see it kind of goes up like that. I'm gonna pattern this anyway. So See if that will add. And that's enormous. I think that's pretty good. You know, so what it does is it actually turns this edge into whatever it wants, but it keeps the surface looking basically as consistent as possible. This is looking pretty good. It will leave like a flat spot, but I wonder if it can delete and patch that away. I think that's something that is yet to be seen. So let's get bodies. That looks kind of cool. Definitely not a typical propeller design. Let's try to hide this sketch away. Come back. But it's mine. Yeah, so like I thought, you know, I was left with a flat spot. But let me see if I do delete face again. If I do that and say delete and patch, woohoo, that works. So let me go back into here and just pick the 4 of them. The only thing that the one I made is like a little bit taller than the one in the image. Let me see if I can adjust that, and I think that's by this plane. So I save just in case something bad happens, but let's see how many errors I get when I do that. It's rebuilding, and none. I did not get any errors. That's, oh, I got a couple. I got a couple. You know, that'll happen sometimes. Actually, I think I made it too short. Yeah, it looks very stubby now. Let's see. Now we'll change that. Yeah, I guess this was just so marginal. Just make it a hair smaller. You know, no one will really throw a fit. So if I, whoops. Yeah, this is like more curvy than the one that I have. So I should be able to, you know, adjust and actually make this value shorter. Okay, and fillet failed again, but we'll take a look at it once I adjust this. Alright, so what is your problem, dude? Yeah, I'm cool with that. So it's just like a little exercise on we got a little exercise on surfacing and, you know, some of the interesting fillet options. So what's the inner diameter of this? If you could report it in inches, that'd be pretty cool. Whoops. Just clicking all the wrong things, I tell you. So that is 5/8 of an inch. So I'll make this part just in like another file. I won't go too nuts with it. Yeah, let's see that, and like that. And then say select midpoint, put that here. 625 over 2. Oops. And 625 over 2. Oh, so that's correct, yeah. Okay. Maybe you just have to make this a bit shorter then. 6. Come over here. So how deep? Oh, let me get it over here. Oops. Trim. We can grab this. Oh, I guess I can show you something cool with the trim tool. So, have you guys ever done this with a trim tool where you want to trim one thing, but then your mouse, like, you know, you jerk your mouse by accident and you go too far and you blow up the other one too. And if you hit Control Z, you'll actually undo everything that you did, which is annoying. You know, because sometimes you could be on a long, like, you know, trip, like cutting a bunch of things, and then you just cut one extra thing too much, and then it ruins the whole thing. So here's a way to get around that. If you noticed, here, let me hit Control Z. Oops. I don't know why that went all the way back there. Alright, so notice, when I get my trim tool, when I cross things, at the point where I cross the line, there's a red dot. Like, check this out. Do you see the red dot that I left behind? Well, that is more for just graphics. So, for example, if I go too far and delete this entity, you see I left the red dot behind? Well, if you back up through the red dot, so I'm still holding it down, as you can see by the display that's right underneath me. If I go hold my mouse and go through the red dot, it actually undoes that one trim. Isn't that pretty cool? So, whoops, unwhoops, whoops, unwhoops. Could save you a lot of time. And we'll just keep going. Give that a revolve. Alright, give that like a material shaft. And let's just get this onto an assembly. So let's save. I'm going to save the file first. 488 SM. First component is fixed, so I'll select that to be the shaft. Then I'll get the propeller. You know, grab those and say make coincident. And I think I'll just follow with a width mate. So selecting 4 faces will provide a width mate. And that should be that. Unwhoops, coined by Rob Maldonado on March 26, 2020. Well, 2021. You gotta be very careful. You don't want to confuse the historians. Because, you know, 20 years from now, everyone's going to be using unwhoops. It's going to be the newest thing, and you got to know who started it. You know, it's all me. Yeah, that is pretty funny, though. But yeah, I think this needs a material, too. You know, let's do 1060 alloy, but, you know, let's just make it look a little bit more interesting. Oh, no, no worries. I'm just razzing you for no reason. Ooh, shiny. Get something like this, and then I can say view, display. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, today's another simple one. But, you know, we got some surfacing lessons in there. Hopefully it was a good break from, you know, the month of just like, why isn't this thing contacting it right? And stuff like that. But yeah, let's get this animated. And of course, like I said in my 3D Experience World 2021 presentation, if you can accomplish something just by using the basic animation mode, that's the way to go. Easier to calculate and faster. And if you can get your things to move correctly with the mates, then it's definitely it looks more accurate as well. Let's get that. And actually, since this thing has quarter symmetry, that it's symmetric about 4, I can actually get more bang for my buck. A lot of people like to see the animations in slow motion, basically. But instead of making this like 20 seconds long, I can just go to the rotary motor, and instead of 12, I can put 3. That way, when this thing, at the end of 5 seconds, this blade will be exactly where this one was. And then when it loops, it looks like it keeps going. Yeah, sometimes you just need these little tricks to help with like file size and other stuff. So now, I can crank up the frames per second. Yep, gotta pump out those graphics smoother than real life. I really love how the light reflects off of the blade as it goes. Like that's really cool to me. But yeah. Let's try and save this one out. It's a little bit off to the side, but it's not the worst. If I just oversize the video, put it to 60, and then put this to MP4. And just save that out. Yeah, it's a brief one. But they all can't be we can't go hard every single night, right? But man, I'm like really impressed about the people in my community. It's just so amazing, especially with like Yaya, who's like, not only is he being very active, but he's been killing it with participating, and not only that, I just want to shout him out one more time. I can actually get my Discord for just nailing these exams. Like he recently just got these 2. Actually, both of these today. So, props to that. Like a lot of people are, they're just spent after just one exam, but to do 2 in a day is like pretty impressive. So, keep it up, my dude. I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of people who are, lurking, lurking in the chat or watching. And I really appreciate. Oh, that's my dashboard. Actually, let's refresh this. I think this is from last time. But yeah, they got 3,002 subscribers. But yeah. Let's take a look, see how it is, and if it's good, I think say class adjourned, and I'll see you for the I'll schedule the Saturday stream right after I'm done with this, and that's probably going to be the marathon stream. So I'll see you Saturday, if anything. Well, let's see. It's good. I don't like the lighting very much. It honestly looks a lot better in the preview. Let me try something. I've never really used cartoon. But I think with cartoon mode, here, let me take that out. With cartoon mode, you can actually set the thickness of the edges. And cartoon edge thickness. How do we crank this up to 6? What happens? Okay, so it looks terrible here, but it thins out when I save. So let me save this out. This is for scientific purposes. You know, just keep everything else the same and call this 2. Let that go and we'll see how it turns out. It does look very aesthetic though. I like that. Yeah. Just gotta chill out and relax. I think that was from a different window. I'm probably just gonna browse the other 507 while we wait for this. Whoops. So we're getting this one done. What is this? Oops, excuse me. Capstan. The cable or rope wound on the barrel of the capstan is hauled in by. That's interesting. So you're free to wind up the rope, but when you pull on the rope, it rotates this member. That's a cool one. I just need an easier way of modeling and animating rope, because by golly, it is pretty tough. Or at least the way that I have. All right, so let's see what that turned out. I accidentally put in VLC. Oop. And it looks identical. I might fix that in post, honestly. Open with... Yeah, it's just too bright. I might change the background and try it one more time. So scene, edit scene. And instead of that, we'll make it like an off-white. There we go. Oops. No, Jesus. I didn't even know you could generate a video that high res. We'll just go. What else we got? Yeah, there's a couple of movements here that I have no idea how I'm gonna do. What is this? An air pump of simple construction. Smaller tub inverted in a larger one. I see. The latter, so the larger, contains water up to the dotted line. Sir, there's a couple dotted lines. And the pipe from shaft or space to be exhausted passes through it to a few inches above water, terminating with a valve opening upwards. When the upper tub descends, great part of air is expelled through the upper valve. That's interesting. Well, I'm gonna have a tough time showing that in SolidWorks. Maybe with like a flow study or something like that. So I was like thinking of like another I was thinking of like another idea that I could do. And I was thinking like September of simulation or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. What like an entire month where I do basically nothing but simulations. I think would be pretty interesting. All right, that's better. I think I'll probably use that. August of animation. That's another idea. But I guess August of animation would be for more, more goofy stuff, because like, mechanisms I've been like, very technical, which is like, which I love, but I love being goofy at the same time. So I would do something like, where's my Instagram? Just scrolling down. Scrolling down through the things I modeled. Okay, I'm looking for 144, I believe. Oops. Dropped the thing I was playing with. Ooh, I blew past it. August of animation would feature stuff like this. Maybe even April of animation. As much as I want to do that, I actually would like to take a little bit of a break of making an animation every single day. It doesn't look exhausting, but when you've been doing it for 500 straight days, you need to balance it out with like, some animation and some others that you just do like a render or other stuff. But I'm definitely looking forward to, returning to doing like renders and just modeling goofy stuff. Here's another thing like, that would have been featured if I had thought of that earlier. Good old Goku and his Nimbus. Animating things that I like, it's like, of course it's not a mechanism, but it's just cool to look at, And this too. Man, classic. Oh yeah. Honestly, I think I'm gonna call it there. Oh, and then Meletrica just showed up. Yeah, I was about to head off. I was about to head out, but I'm glad you could make it for the outro, though. I'll just be around. October of Oscillation. We're getting more specific. You come up with great ideas, especially for like the, not only for like the YouTube stuff or the Discord. So I'm really glad to have you around. But yeah, I think I'll call it here. Looks pretty good. And yeah, check my Discord or my Twitter, or just, I post news for practically all my channels for updates on the marathon stream on Saturday to celebrate 3,000 subscribers. So again, thank you so much to everyone who subscribed and put their little part towards that 3,000 number. That is enormous, and I can't tell you how much that means to me. And here's to the next 1,000. So until 4,000, I guess. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys.